To pose, now shush. She makes the sound she makes to calm me down. Oh. To pose, now shush. She makes the sound she makes to calm me down. Oh.
I am protecting life on our planet.
Day by day, with every single thing I do.
I conserve the world's biggest forests.
I safeguard the rivers
and oceans.
I stand up for coral reefs,
rainforests,
tundras,
deserts,
and grasslands.
I work with communities in the Amazon,
the Arctic,
the Congo,
and the Himalayas.
I collaborate with the biggest companies on Earth
to make their processes and their products more sustainable.
I influence governments
to
to create policy that recognizes and respects
the importance of nature.
I give a voice to all animals who call Earth their home.
I'm protecting life on our planet.
But because I'm with WWF,
I am not doing it alone.
6,000 staff.
6 million members.
In over 100 countries.
For more than half a century.
Businesses. Foundations.
Governments.
Communities.
Individuals.
and one iconic panda.
Together, we are protecting life on our planet,
including our own.
Because together,
anything is possible.
I am protecting life on our planet.
Day by day, with every single thing I do.
I conserve the world's biggest forests. I safeguard the rivers
and oceans.
I stand up for coral reefs,
rainforests,
tundras,
deserts,
and grasslands.
I work with communities in the Amazon,
the Arctic,
the Congo,
and the Himalayas.
I collaborate with the biggest companies on Earth
to make their processes and their products more sustainable.
I influence governments,
to create policy that recognizes and respects
the importance of nature.
I give a voice to all animals who call Earth their home.
I'm protecting life on our planet.
but because I'm with WWF,
I am not doing it alone.
6,000 staff.
6 million members.
In over 100 countries.
For more than half a century.
businesses, foundations,
Governments,
Communities,
Individuals.
and one iconic panda.
Together, we are protecting life on our planet,
including our own.
Because together,
anything is possible.
Pose to pose, now shush. She makes the sound she made to calm me down. To pose, now shush. She makes the sound she made to calm me down. To pose, now shush. She makes the sound she made to calm me down. To pose, now shush. She makes the sound she made to calm me down. To pose, now shush. She makes the sound she made to calm me down. to pose, now shush. She makes the sound she makes to calm me down. To pose, now shush. She makes the sound she makes to calm me down.
We would also like to inform everyone that for documentation purposes, we will be recording this Zoom call and streaming live on Crest and WWF-Philippines Facebook pages. Rest assured that all information obtained from the event registrants will not be shared with any other party in compliance with the data privacy law. Also, please take note of the following house rules to be observed during the event. So first, kindly turn off your microphones and cameras throughout the program. Please set them on mute and please turn off your camera. Secondly, for questions addressed to the speakers, the floor will be open for questions at the end of the program. So please observe courtesy at all times. And then in compliance with the data privacy law, again, all information obtained from the event registrants will not be shared with any other party. Today's forum aims to educate participants about the GEOP rules and guidelines and receive valuable feedback on the existing rules from RE suppliers, distribution utilities, and end users. We will be joined by a select number of speakers today who will share knowledge about the topic. And as mentioned earlier, we will have a Q&A at the end of the program in case our audience wishes to clarify anything about the points discussed by our speakers today. So I know everyone's already excited and everyone's already excited to ask questions to our speakers and our reactors. So let's start. To start today's program on a high note, let us welcome Attorney Angela Ibay, WWF-Philippines Head of Climate and Energy Program, for the opening remarks. Attorney Gia.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Attorney, you're on mute po.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Gia. Sorry, we can hear you po.
Okay. Thank you. So good morning, everyone, and I'm very glad to see a lot of people joining this webinar series that we're co-hosting and co-organized with the Center for Renewable Energy and Sustainable Technology. This particular start of a webinar series is really aimed to be able to educate a lot of people, various stakeholders and participants who would benefit from the use of the different renewable energy mechanisms. To start off this webinar series, we decided to have the Green Energy Option Program. The Green Energy Option Program will be one of the non-fiscal incentive mechanisms, which will be explained by our speakers this morning. So first, thank you again for joining us. We do hope you join us not just only for this webinar series, but really to be able to further in the development and uptake of renewable energy into our country's energy mix, because it's very important for us as end users, consumers, even producers to really look at reducing our greenhouse gas emissions and our dependence from fossil fuel, and really see how we can be able to make this the future of our country and of our planet more sustainable. I will not take up too much time because I know that our speakers are very much have a lot of things to say. So with that, I hope we have a very fruitful morning, and do ask your questions because we will all learn from them as well. So with that, thank you. And thank you again also to Crest for partnering with us in this webinar series.
Okay, so thank you so much, Attorney Ibay, for that very inspiring message. Now, I know most of us here in the Zoom call may already know this, but for the benefit of our Facebook audience, the Green Energy Options Program is one of the non-fiscal incentive mechanisms under the Renewable Energy Act that allows electricity end users or consumers with peak demand above 100 kilowatts to directly source their electricity supply from their chosen renewable energy supplier. The program is now ready to be rolled out with DOE's recent accreditation of 6 energy companies as the initial batch of registered suppliers that can be tapped by end users who wish to avail of the program. For end users and consumers looking to reduce their GHG emissions and dependence on fossil fuels, as well as their energy costs, understanding the GEOP guidelines is an important step. To give us a deep dive into GEOP, let's call on the Director of the Department of Energy's Renewable Energy Management Bureau, Ms. Maylene C. Capongcol. Welcome, Director Capongcol.
Hello, good
Can you hear
morning,
us po?
everyone. Yeah. Do you hear me clearly, everyone? Magandang umaga po sa atin lahat, and it's our pleasure to be presenting to you the Green Energy Option Program that we have been promoting and continuing discussion and presentation to our potential electricity end users, or what we call Green Energy Option Program. Next slide, please. So first, let me start by showing to you how tremendous resources we have that remains untapped for the renewable energy. And we call it Big Show. No? So we have been archipelagic. We have a lot of potential hydro, wind, and of course solar. No? And geothermal actually is one of our focus technology, also considering it can compete in the base load requirement of our electricity end users. And of course, biomass, we're venturing into what we call the waste to energy, no? So that there's cleaner environment, and as well as providing electricity for those waste, no? That we generate from our daily lives. No? So again, there's a lot of potential RE resources, and all we have to do is harness this and convert this into a clean and useful electricity for our country. Next slide, please. So in the slide, you can see that the RE law has provided RE development mechanism that is intended to support those advocates of RE, particularly the RE developers. So we have what we call, you mentioned, there was a mention already by Attorney Ibay and just about the non-fiscal incentive, which include the Green Energy Option Program. Now we have what we call, we group them into mandatory policies that really will push renewable energy development in the country, as well as voluntary. When we say voluntary, these are more on consumers' interests and advocates of using and building their own renewable energy facilities, uh, either through a third party or by themselves. No, of course, feed-in tariff is part of it, but as we all know, it's already full, and we're managing. I mean, the government is managing the impact of electricity uh, tariff, for this program. And actually, the Green Energy Auction Program, as you can see in this slide, is the latest baby we have, no, to really facilitate compliance of all our mandated participants in the renewable energy program, particularly the RPS, no. So these are mandatory program both for on-grid and off-grid. And soon we will be establishing the RE market, and to be hoping to target the commercial operation of the RE market by June of this year. Next slide, please. So for the Green Energy Option Program, I will be presenting, slightly discussing the two policy issuances of the Department of Energy as far as implementing the Green Energy Option Program. First, we issued in 2018 the mother policy, which is the establishment or the promulgation of the Green Energy Option, and comes in last year is the operating permit. No? So this is to facilitate third party, or what we call the GEO RE suppliers, no? to really start marketing and looking for customers' interest in putting up their own or using their own cost demand, no, for RE. Next slide, please. So again, let me discuss with you the first policy we issued, the basic of it. So the Green Energy Option Program is a voluntary mechanism, and we devised the policy that in a way will not lay or overlap with the net metering. No, as you know, the net metering has a cap of 100 kilowatt. So what we did was, for the Green Energy Option Program, we will be using, or we will be allowing customers with 100 kilowatt and above demand to source their electricity supply from the RE. So that's the distinction between the net metering and the green energy option. Second, it's a non-regulated. There's no approval needed from the Energy Regulatory Commission, particularly on the GEO supply contracts, to be entered into between the customers and the GEO suppliers. Third is considering the RE Act mandates or encourages everyone, even the consumers, to contribute in the development and utilization of RE, then this is one of their ways to contribute to that policy. Next slide. In developing the Green Energy Option Program, we want the policy to be more, to be simple and easy to understand, easy to comply with. No, so number one, the customers should be aware of all or what they are entering into under the green energy option. So the distribution utility should be able, and the RE supplier should be able to fully disclose the offer under the green energy option. What would be the effect? What will be the arrangement just to inform the consumers that really it's an informed decision on their part to enter into the green energy option program. Second, consistent also with the Electric Power Industry Reform Act, distribution utilities and transmission or generation provide open and non-discriminatory access, no? And anything that will impact the supply to the consumer, there should be appropriate wheeling services as well as replacement power. I will discuss that later. And then what is important also is that the consumer is aware of all the charges that he's paying, under the green energy option program. So all of this is our principles in implementing the green energy option program. Next slide, please. So in the circular, we have provided some guidance to our RE suppliers and the electricity consumers on what should contain a JOP supply contract. No, this is not cast in stone because it's between two parties, but to aid the electricity end users and the RE supplier in making their supply contract. We provided the guidance like the period, the contract period, who is the electricity end users, where is it located, who is the RE supplier, where is the supply coming from, what generation RE generation facility, and important also is the level of demand and the energy that the end users will be enrolling or will be using under the contract. And then of course the price, the payment terms, would there be a need for a security payment, deposit, etc., and the period of the bill, payment for the consumption. And of course, one important factor here is the need for a replacement power, because we wanted the customers to continue enjoying electricity services 24/7. So if the RE facility is not available, another RE facility or another RE generation facility should be able to provide that supply to the customers. It particularly on the facilities that will use the qualification and eligibility. Number one, there should be a JOP operating permit coming from the Department of Energy, and the facility that will be used by the RE supplier or the source of the RE supply to the customer should have secured a certificate of compliance from the Energy Regulatory Commission. And of course, ERC has been issuing policy or regulations on the distributed energy resources. So they must comply also with the energy regulatory rules pertaining to the facilities of the RE suppliers. Next slide, please. So in terms of the JOP, the end user has also the responsibility. Number one, it should notify the distribution utility of its intention to participate in the Green Energy Option Program 3 months prior to the signing of the JOP supply contract. And then it shall notify the DU, the host DU, of its signed contract with an RE suppliers at least 1 month prior to the activities of that supply. So this is just to alert and make the distribution utility ready of the eventual migration of the customers to the distribution utility. And then of course, if there are outstanding financial obligations to the distribution utility, the customers should be able to pay its outstanding obligation to the distribution utility. For Transco, again, just to pursue the Green Energy Option Program, it should provide the mechanism for the physical connection and commercial arrangement together with the distribution utility, the Philippine Electricity Market Company or the IMAP, and the RE supplier, so that the customer right or the customer's choice to enter into renewable energy program under the JOP will be facilitated easily. Next slide, please. Now, for the RE supplier, one of our requirement is so that the electricity end user will be able to study also is the offer sheet. No, I think this is currently being practiced by what we call the retail electricity suppliers or the generation company to its target markets. No, so um, again, it should be clear. The offer should be clear. The replacement power should be identified, and the RE supplier will be able to facilitate everything towards the implementation of the arrangement they have entered into with the electricity end user. Next slide, please. Now, in keeping up with the policy and the trust of the RE law that we uphold the end user's right for to choose a RE supplier, the Department of Energy has created what we call the JOP Oversight Committee. And this is headed by our Undersecretary, currently is Yusek Emmanuel Juanesa. But we have yet to meet together with the directors of REMB, EPIMB, our legal, and representative from our central registration body, which is IMAP. And the purpose of this is the JOP Oversight Committee will assist the government or the management in deciding and assessing the implementation of the JOP. And if there's a need to enhance or to tighten some of the policies and rules, then we will be able to assess that. But the goal is towards the promotion of consumer advocacy in renewable energy. Next slide, please. So these are just the other provision in the circular. Again, we are still awaiting the energy regulatory framework, particularly in setting the technical and interconnection standard as well as wheeling. Also, dual billing mechanism may be applied. When we say dual mechanism, if the consumer has the ability or they opt to talk to both the RE supplier and the distribution utility for the wheeling fee, then that would be fine. Otherwise, at the option of both the RE supplier and the customer, the RE supplier can do this, can do all those things on behalf of the electricity end users. Okay, so as what we have in our RE law, there's what we call prohibited acts and sanction. And we, under the RE law, there's administrative liability as well as criminal liability for non-compliance with the RE law and the provision of the JOP rules. So we're upholding the consumer protection as well on this, or the protection of even the RE supplier, because we won't have any RE facility if not for our RE stakeholders as well. Next slide. So let me go through the JOP operating permit. In the first policy we issued, we mentioned that the RE supply shall secure an operating permit guidelines from the DOE, and the purpose of that is it's a sort of tailor that we're looking at, no? Because we're the one issuing the service contract to our RE developers, and one of the ways to make them pursue the project or make them viable is to come up with various market mechanism for them. So JOP is one. So this would help in pursuing and identifying who the players are. So for the RE suppliers qualification, so again, it should be registered at SEC and of course the necessary permits from any government agency. And the RE facility should be eligible for the green energy option. So meaning it's renewable energy, And to be able to generate what we call the RE certificate, then it should be uh, installed or started commercial operation after the RE Act, which is 2008. No, and uh, any owners operator of RE facilities, no, again constructed and operating prior to the RE Act, uh, should be registered also with the DOE. So that's the purpose of the RE suppliers qualification. Next slide, please. So this is just an application. This is easily be complied with. No? So what we're looking at is we'll just see whether the RE supplier has the capability or the contracted supply or a power generation facility, RE, to be able to cater to the needs of the JOP consumers. And of course, one, again, to ensure that the services will be 24/7 to the electricity end user, we require a replacement power coming from a renewable energy resources. And then, of course, they have to pay the processing fee for our salaries also. And the billing document from at least one contestable. So this is for the existing electricity supplier to ensure that they have a good standing in servicing and supplying the contestable customers. So just a proof that they are engaged in the business of RES for the last 2 years. Thank you. Next slide, please. So, consistent with the Anti-Red Tape Authority and our Citizen Charter, all processing of approval, no, upon complete receipt of all the requirements should be done in 20 working days. And we were happy to report that we have been doing this for the 6 JOP RE suppliers that we have issued. Next slide, please. So replacement power, we have provided a transition period, no, because when we did the public consultation, a lot of RE developers are concerned that considering the variability of some of the RE facility, they may not be able to provide continuous 24/7 service, including replacement power coming from a pure RE facility. But so we did a 2-year transition period that that replacement power may come from the indigenous resources or locally harnessed RE facility. But our main contention is, as much as possible, we want existing renewable energy to be used as replacement power. And another thing is that for the for the hybrid RE technologies such as solar and battery and some other system, replacement power, considering this connotes 24/7 because of the technologies adapted, then during the replacement power is only required when the facility is under maintenance services. Next slide, please. So the JOP operating permit will be valid for 5 years and must be renewed, no, if they wish to, 6 months prior to its expiration. Next slide, please. So again, the JOP RE suppliers should be able to comply with the requirements of the operating permit. Otherwise, we can revoke, suspend, or cancel what we have issued to them. Next slide, please. Of course, penalties comes with it for the violations. So we have the first offense, second offense, and the third offense, which will result to the cancellation and revocation of the operating permit. So if the DOE has sent message or inquiries to the RE supplier and they're not responding or they're not submitting any report to the Department of Energy, then it will lead to any of these penalties under the JOP program. Next slide, please. So early on, Attorney Ibay and our host has mentioned that we have already issued 6 RE suppliers, no? So these entities are already marketing to the various areas in the industry, particularly PESA and some other commercial establishment, no? So again, we're still awaiting also for the JOP regulatory framework of the Energy Regulatory Commission. So far, there are still 3 or 4 applications for RE suppliers that we're processing. So we're just doing some due diligence as far as those companies are concerned. So, and anytime soon, this will increase to more than 10. Next slide, please. So again, that's the end of my presentation. So if you have any question later, I'll be able to respond to your questions or clarification. Again, thank you to WWF and the CREST for undertaking this webinar on the Green Energy Option Program. We need a lot of this so that it can reach our electricity end users. Yesterday, the Secretary has really emphasized that the Green Energy Option Program is one of those mechanisms that we're looking at to implement the clean energy scenario or the energy transition program of the Department of Energy or of the Philippines. So with that, we encourage you to participate under this green energy option. And if you need further information or guidance, then the Renewable Energy Management Bureau would be able to help you on that. So just send us an email or inquiry if you need further guidance or a detailed explanation on the situation that you're in. So with that, thank you and good morning.
Thank you, Director Kapongkol, for sharing with us the guidelines for the Green Energy Options Program. I'm pretty sure that the GOP would be one of the ways for us to accelerate the energy transition in the country, and for us to involve all of the different stakeholders that we have, especially people from the industry, of whom we have a lot participating today, as well as other stakeholders from the academy, from NGOs, and from the government too. So now that we have a deeper understanding of the GOP guidelines, some of us may now be wondering to whom should we get in touch with to kickstart our journey to finding greener energy options. To help the general public regarding this, here are some short clips of Department of Energy's first accredited GOP suppliers. Kindly roll the VTR.
Fostering sustainability, empowering electricity end users, and choosing cleaner energy is already within your reach. The Philippines' electricity end users can now choose 100% renewable energy. More than 10 years since the enactment of the Renewable Energy Act in 2008, end users can finally exercise their right to choose renewable energy as their source of electricity through the Green Energy Option Program or GOP. Fostering sustainability, empowering electricity end users, and choosing cleaner energy is already within your reach. The Philippines' electricity end users can now choose 100% renewable energy. More than 10 years since the enactment of the Renewable Energy Act in 2008, end users can finally exercise their right to choose renewable energy as their source of electricity through the Green Energy Option Program, or GEOP. GEOP is a policy mechanism that allows electricity end users with 100 kilowatts or above demand to source their electricity supply from renewable energy sources through renewable energy suppliers. GEOP provides cleaner options of supply, is indigenous and renewable, helps reduce or retard global warming, and gives the power of choice to end users as their potent weapon against economic downturns. So what are you waiting for? Help transition the Philippines now to a more sustainable future. To learn more about GEOP, visit the DOE and OMREP's website and social media pages. Thank you for watching. Choose RE now.
In recent years, we have adopted a more imaginative approach to business. We pursued sectors with major gaps in capacity, accessibility, quality, and affordability that are critical for our countrymen.
Efforts of the private sector in renewable energy are now becoming a significant source of the nation's energy requirements. Filipinos are gradually responding to sustainable living.
In the end, no matter what business we enter, our goal is not just to succeed, but to reinvent the way things work, to change people's lives for the better.
Because we know we can only create that one future if we value today. Together.
I grow up, will there still be birds? What about turtles or whale sharks? Please stop making animals disappear.
When I grow up, can I still swim in the beach? They say some beaches are too polluted? What does that mean?
Please help me. I don't want to grow up in a dying planet. If you're gonna produce energy, make sure it's good for all of us.
At First Gen, we believe it's our responsibility to provide cleaner energy that's good for the environment. So we only produce power that is 100% clean, 100% reliable, using 0% coal. Not just for us, but for more generations to come. First Gen, 100% green power, 100% good power.
So, are we good?
Okay, so we're now done with our videos, and now we have already discussed how the green energy option programs work. And as from basing on our videos, we can see that the future of energy and sustainable energy in our country is really, really positive. And it's really nice that we are reminded that one of the reasons, or one of the main reasons why we are actually pursuing this energy transition is not only for the future of our economy, but also for the future of our planet and the future of the generations thereafter. So now we will proceed with our next a set of reactors who will share with us their insights on the Green Energy Options Program from different perspectives. So first in our list, we are fortunate to have with us one of the accredited GEOP suppliers. So Mr. Carlos Lorenzo Vega is the Vice President for Power Marketing, Trading, and Economics of First Gen Corporation. He will share to us how the company intends to roll out GEOP and how the public can avail of their services. So, Mr. Vega.
Hi, good morning, Joshua. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Hi. I'd just like to share a couple of slides, if that's okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just I'll just say when you can shift to the next slide. So thank you very much. I'd like to once again, good morning. I'd like to thank the organizers of the event, Attorney Ibay from WWF, Engineer Panaligan of CREST. Thank you very much for having me here today. I'd also like to thank and recognize our distinguished speaker, Director Mylene Capungcol. I think the presentation was very comprehensive. It's very easy to understand, and it gave all of us, it gave me a very easy job today, so that I will just be reacting and not really share how it works, because it was very comprehensive. I'd also like to thank everybody for having us here. I'd like to start by saying that as a reaction or as a quick response to the presentation on GEOP, I'd like to say that among the non-fiscal incentives or non-fiscal mechanisms of the RE law, we wanted to say that GEOP is truly the one that's for the consumer. Because if you look at the ones that were mentioned earlier, the feed-in tariff, the renewable portfolio standards, all of these are enabling RE, but the GEOP is the one that's really specific to the consumer, giving them the power of choice. Now, if you move to the next slide, we call it GEOP as it's the power of choice, but specifically for RE. And because we're talking about choices, our reaction and our response to the presentation would simply be about 4 choices. I'd like to share our insights about 4 choices. And the first one I'd like to share about is our own choice at First Gen. And in our next slide, you will see our chairman and CEO, Federico Lopez. If you look at, yes. And in 2016, we made that choice to forge collaborative pathways towards a regenerative future by committing to build and invest only in clean and renewable power generation technologies. Mainly because, as the babies would said in our advertisement, we believe that there are alternatives that do not mortgage the future of our children and our planet, and that's why we continue to do what we do at First Gen, looking at cleaner and greener choices for everybody in terms of power supply. Now, if you move to the next choice that we'd like to talk about, we'd like to thank and laud our leaders in government and in the power industry for working very hard to give us the power of choice through various mechanisms. And we wanted to say that GEOP is not, as Director Mylene Kapungkol said earlier, this is actually voluntary. GEOP is voluntary, just like if you look at the various changes and reforms instituted in our power industry that our government leaders worked hard for. GEOP is like ARCOA, and then this is very similar to ARCOA in the sense that if you go to the next slide, the retail competition and open access, which was born out of EPIRA, recognized that by making the generation sector competitive, it will be able to provide our consumers the largest source of savings. Because if you look at your power bill today, if you look at your company's power bills today, the largest chunk of that is from the generation sector. And ARCOA, the Retail Competition and Open Access, believed that by providing choices to the consumer, they would be able to provide savings on the largest chunk of your power bill. And that in itself is very similar to GEOP, because GEOP also attacks the generation charge of your power bill. It will keep the transmission charge the same. It will keep the distribution utilities charges the same. It's really just attacking the biggest part of your bill. And that's where, if you look at it, it's the parallel of the ARCOA. But as I've said earlier, GEOP provides another aspect of making that choice. If you go to the next slide, you will see that through ARCOA, our contestable customers, our customers that are eligible to participate. I believe now we are in phase 3. The Energy Regulatory Commission mentioned and provided a resolution saying that we're already now in phase 3. So that if you're a consumer with 500 kilowatts and up, you can already participate in ARCOA. And in ARCOA, you can see here that based on publicly available data, you will be able to realize 10 to 20% savings from your generation charge. And if you move to the next slide, ARCOA and GEOP is very similar in providing you the choice. But the third choice, when we talk about GEOP, is not just about price. And if you go to the next slide, we wanted to share our journey during ARCOA that when we met with a number of customers, a lot of our contestable customers made their choice because, number one, they will make savings, definitely, that's a given. But also, more importantly, they made that choice to switch to us because it was a match. It was going to achieve for them their commitment to source power from renewable energy. Because I think as an information, as a point of fact, there are companies around the world, particularly the RE100. These are companies who've stated and made commitments to source their power requirements from full RE in the very near future. In fact, they gave themselves a deadline for doing that. And these customers are also here in the Philippines, and they're already, and most of their facilities were qualified for retail competition and open access. And so when they made a choice to switch out and look for their supplier, they made it based on savings because they think there are cheaper and more reasonably priced alternatives. And at the same time, these are companies who specified that when you supply them, those who can participate in their selection process, those are only the ones that provide renewable energy. Now, where does GEOP come into this? We can see here in this slide that today there are more than 2,000 customers that are already enjoying the benefit of that power of choice from retail competition and open access. And what GEOP is doing is simply expanding that so that smaller customers, as Director Mylene Kapungkol mentioned earlier, if you're as small as 100 kilowatts and up, you can already participate in GEOP, practice that power of choice, and at the same time, make sure that that choice is because you want renewable energy. And this expands it by, as you can see here, there's there's so many other customers that can benefit from GEOP. Smaller and smaller customers from the commercial and industrial sectors. Okay, so if you move to the next slide, I will not dwell on this too much. I think most of it has already been covered. But we wanted to say that on top of GEOP, what it actually does is that the Department of Energy also provides recently provided for an Energy Efficiency Act. It's essentially a department circular saying that encouraging everybody to conserve their power, and it's actually a compliance mechanism. GEOP provides as a compliance mechanism on energy conservation. And so I think you'll be getting so much value out of GEOP because you'll be able to get the savings. You'll be able to match and achieve your RE supply commitment, and at the same time comply with DOE's guidelines for energy conservation. If you move to the next slide, this is just a summary and a set of next steps. We wanted to conclude that the power of choice is real. It's not a hypothetical concept. You can already enjoy it because of this mechanism. And we think that it's more than the provision of GEOP. The timing is perfect. We wanted to say that with what happened to us last year with COVID affecting all of us, we believe that pursuing this is a regenerative way of making sure that you bounce back and rebound from the pandemic. And so I think I mentioned 4 choices, and I wanted to end with a 4th choice. I've mentioned 3 choices already, and I wanted to end with a 4th choice. And that would be in the next slide. And that choice is actually yours. For the consumers, electricity users that are in here, for our leaders, it's really your choice to explore, understand, and look at that same renewable future. And it's also for our government leaders, for our industry leaders, for business leaders to support that choice, to move towards market reforms and renewable energy development. And so with that, I'd like to close and say thank you once again to everybody for this morning, and good morning. This is just a shameless plug. Please do reach out to us. Our head of our power marketing and sales group is Arlene Soriano. Her details are here, and I think this will be shared to everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Carlo, for sharing with us your insights. And I think one of the most important benefits of having the Green Energy Options Program, which Sir Carlo shared, is it gives us a choice to not only to get power according to like the lowest price, but it can also give us the choice to choose power according to how it is sourced or how it is produced. And it's one of I think it's one of the ways for us to also engage not only the government for promoting renewable energy, but also everyone who has the money to do so, everyone who has the capacity to do so can now participate given the new policies that were published from the Green Energy Options Program. We are now having a lot of questions, so please just ask your questions, and if you want to direct your questions to any of our speakers or our reactors, kindly indicate in your questions to whom you would want to address your question. Now with our next reactor, to further inspire everyone and to also share industry best practices, we invited our speakers to share their inputs on the adaptation of green energy options to the public. Now we may call on Ms. Claire Lee, Policy and Finance Advisor of the RTI Energy Secure Philippines. Ms. Lee will share the importance of GEOP to further mainstream the adoption of renewable energy in the country. Ms. Claire?
Yes, thank you very much, Joshua. Am I clear? Can people hear me?
Yes, po, we can hear you.
Okay. First, I'd like to thank Engineer Ray and Attorney Gia for inviting us to participate in this webinar. And also to Boss Mai, it's always a pleasure to hear your presentations. Maybe I should close my video for now to save on bandwidth, if that's okay.
Sure po, Miss Claire.
Thank you. Maybe firstly, I'd like to introduce the organization that I work for right now. It's called Energy Secure Philippines Activity. It's under a USAID funded program, and it consists of a very dynamic team under the very able leadership of Ms. Bang Chingkwangko. As mentioned, ESP activity is a USAID funded program that focuses on advancing inclusive economic growth and resilient development through increasing private investment in order to promote advanced technology deployment and boost the energy sector's resilience. ESP aims to mobilize 750 million US dollars in private sector investment that will stimulate 500 megawatts in additional generation capacity. ESP's 7.5 million US dollar grants program aims to catalyze and encourage private sector engagement with local government entities in the implementation of complementary energy interventions. Now, ESP has three objectives. First, it is to improve electric utility performance. Second, increase the deployment of advanced energy systems. And third, to enhance competition in the power sector. Now, our tasks for this 5-year program falls under these three broad objectives of the organizations. Having said that, I would like to say that we are open to supporting the ERC in developing the framework for GEOP, as well as working with DOE and providing technical assistance. Now, the next part of my reaction, these are insights that I've had when I consulted with several of our colleagues in the international space, especially our colleagues who work in the energy industry and who already have GEOP in their respective countries. I really appreciated it when Boss Mai said that the GEOP is really targeted on the consumers. And she also stressed that it should be user-friendly. And I couldn't agree more with her sentiment. It has to be easy for the end user to be able to understand, firstly, to understand what GEOP is and how they are able to participate in such programs of the government. In other countries, I think it's interesting to note that the rates are not always cheap. And so one of the incentives for the target market to participate in GEOP, especially in our the Philippine GEOP, it's a 100 kilowatt peak, 100 kilowatt and above. These are businesses normally. And the incentive for these businesses to participate in GEOP is usually for branding and marketing. A lot of the consumers, as we know these days, lean more to supporting green and sustainable companies. And not only the consumers, but also other companies and financial institutions incentivize companies that have a green portfolio. Now, having said that, a lot of these targeted businesses would like to be able to contribute to the RE program of the country and at the same time also manage their purse. And I think it is Australia who has a flexible GEOP version. And when you say flexible, they allow the end user to be able to buy the green energy at 10%, 50%, or 100%. So they can be flexible in their participation in the GEOP. So, that's just one of the things that I wanted to share because it's very interesting and might be something that we can look also into when enhancing the GEO policy. Also, I think, and this is echoing the industry, local industry, renewable industry market, when they say that the ownership of the RECs, in some countries, the ownership are not to the distribution utility, but the ownership is to the end user, is of the RE credit. And then lastly, in terms of user-friendly, a lot of the countries that have GEOPS, their own version of GEOPS, have an online platform that has all the information, all the service providers, and an easy application process via online. I guess another interesting insight that I had when talking with our colleagues from abroad is that in terms of accreditation, and as Boss Mai has presented, she has presented a very comprehensive and well thought of accreditation process for GEOP. But a lot of other industry players would also want to participate. And in other countries, eligible applicants can also be developers who are still about to commission their RE projects. So I don't know if that is also applicable to our GEO. And lastly, in terms of interconnection, as I understand, interconnection, these are already taken care of under present rules, under the Philippine Grid Code, the Philippine Distribution Code, Open Access, Philippine Electrical Code. And it's just a matter of ensuring that the rules are complied with. So that's it for my reaction, my very brief reaction to Boss Mai's presentation. And I really look forward to working with Boss Mai and her team, as well with ERC, in any support or technical assistance that we may be able to give. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Claire, for sharing with us your insights. Also for sharing us details about the new RTI Energy Secure program. We also appreciate your insights from the international scene for incentivizing and accrediting businesses and energy sellers for them to participate in the respective GEO programs in their countries. So the next and the final reactor is architect Luisa Daya Garcia, an ASEAN architect and chairperson of Green Architecture Advocacy of the Philippines. She is also the primary consultant for UN development programs, Climate Smart Buildings. Architect Daya Garcia will share to us how relevant is the program in the national goal to achieve green and climate smart buildings. Architect Louis.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the following organizations who are very much into sustainability: Green Architecture Advocacy Philippines, or Green AP, Green Restorative Actions and Sustainable Solutions, or GRAS, UAP Climate Change Commission on Climate Change, UAP Commission on Green Architecture Movement, and UAP Committee on the Natural and Built Environment, I am grateful to WWF through Attorney Ibay and CREST through Engineer Paniligan for this opportunity to participate in this timely discussion. Thank you too for the insights from Mr. Vega and from Ms. Yvonne Lee. No, many thanks too to Director Mylene Kapongkol for her very valuable presentation of the GEOP. As a sustainability strategist, I believe that the Green Energy Option Program provides a wider opportunity for the Filipinos to avail clean, renewable, and sustainable energy needs. Well, as we all know by now, science tells us that the burning of fossil fuels or the use of traditional energy, which we typically have depended on for so long, since the boom of industrial age more than a century ago, is the largest source of greenhouse gas emissions that cause climate change other serious environmental problems, and even people's respiratory and cardiac health problems. My reaction to the presentations are a combination of reactions and questions. For number one, environmental impacts. No? Let's go here. It is excellent that our government is highly supporting renewable energy. However, the main new physical structures for energy production, transmission, and distribution need to be also assessed in terms of environmental impacts. Many are currently asking if new structures for transmission and distribution are to be built, or are the new RE suppliers going to use the current existing utility equipment? Although RA 9513 has a statement on this regarding environmental impacts in the construction of new facilities, as a sustainability practitioner in the architecture and construction industries, it is important for the guidelines for new construction and transmission to be made public as well. Number two, on renewable energy. Although RE is infinite, it is unavailable 24/7. Efficient storage technology is critical for adequate quality transmission of supply in terms of voltage, frequency, and reliability to end users. Well, with this in mind, cost may be a concern. And if this is so, I would like to understand the competitiveness of the cost of renewable energy. Needless to say, there is a need for the public to clearly understand the economic and energy efficiency supply advantages of shifting to RE suppliers. Number three, end users it was mentioned that end users are to inform the current utility supplier at least 3 months prior to migrating to the new chosen renewable energy supplier. In the event that the end consumer is not legally and or by contract unsatisfied with the new RE supplier, well, hopefully not, no? I would like to understand how the end user can shift back to the previous supplier or migrate again to another RE supplier, if many RE suppliers are available in their region. Basically, my question here is how easy it is, because it was mentioned, no, it's easy to migrate, it's easy to transfer, but how easy is it to shift from one to the next? And it has also been established that end users, this is number 4, no? It has been established that end users who use an average of 100 kW can avail the GEO. I would like to see if end users will eventually include subdivisions and villages, yung associations, if they can be a part of GEO as well, because numerous residentials could make up the 100 kW. And number 5, hybrid system was mentioned in the presentation, referring to indigenous sources during maintenance. Does the definition of hybrid also include a combination of 2 or more RE suppliers, or maybe RE, renewable energy supplier, and the current energy supplier while in the process of transitioning? That's it. So it is important that we take advantage of our country's free energy resources. Clean energy is a no-brainer choice when it comes to people's health and environmental sustainability. Globally, energy is the prime target for mitigation and adaptation to climate change. The built environment has the biggest potential to address this, and going renewable energy is the most straightforward way to make a difference. So with that, I'd like to thank you once again for this opportunity, and I wish everyone well.
Thank you, Architect Louis, for sharing with us some very interesting insights. No, I agree. The public in particular, should clearly understand both the benefits of the green energy options programs as well as the environmental and the social risks of this new policy. No, and there are some questions that Architect Louis raised that I think we can discuss further later in the program. She raised about how end users can transfer from one supplier to another, or how other end users, such as subdivisions, maybe condominiums, and other like big or aggregated demand can participate in the program. No? So thank you, Mr. Vega, Ms. Lee, and Architect Daya Garcia for sharing your expertise. And now may we call back Director Mylene Kapongkol, maybe to answer some of the questions or the thoughts that our reactors raised earlier. Director Mylene?
Yeah, thank you, Joshua. Thank you to Carlos, Miss Claire, and Architect Garcia for the insights or comments or clarification or questions now regarding the JIA program. And allow me first to respond to the items raised by Miss Claire. By the way, we would like to thank USAID under the Energy Secure Philippines for the continued support, no, to the Department of Energy, the Energy Regulatory Commission, in all of our undertakings in the power and the renewable energy sector, particularly in meeting our energy transition. So thank you for that. And one major assistance we're requesting or is currently being implemented is the green energy auction program. So this is the first in the Philippines, and we hope that by June we will be able to conduct the first auction for the Philippines. Now, regarding the design, no, that was mentioned in Australia, that the customer can choose or had the option to just enroll certain percentage of its demand. Actually, we based on our consultation prior to the issuance, the desire of the distribution utilities is since according to them, it would be difficult to have a sort of a blend in the supply. So it's either you live or not. So that was the design. But again, the JOP Oversight Committee and the Department of Energy will continue to assess. So if there's a need to adjust or modify the program, then we are, I think, empowered to do that as long as the objective of the RE law is met. No. Second, there is a question of whether the RE developers can really provide also or participate under the Green Energy Option Program. Actually, I mentioned earlier that the target also particularly are the RE developers or generation, because part of their requirement to be able to declare commerciality of their project is there should be a market for them. And this JOP is one ready market for them, so that while constructing their facilities, they be able to contract or to market their power generation project to those consumers. So actually what we're looking at is the generator retailer. That's actually the main view of the JA program. Second, on the third, on the ownership of the RECs, in the initial consultation we had with the players, and to be able to encourage the DU to allow their customers to move or to engage in the JOP is for them at least to own the RECs. No? But again, with the voluntary RE market that we're designing right now, eventually with PH 100 and the main or later on what we're looking at is this customer with the voluntary RE market will eventually own the RE certificate. I think that's fair, no? And if we continue, because to our mind, if we continue giving the REC ownership to the distribution utility, they may not be able anymore to comply with contracting the RE, no, under the RPS. Baka puro doon na lang sa JOP or ang compliance nila. So we will not be able to meet the target RE development. And on the online platform, yes, I hope that that's our goal also is to have a transparent information about the green energy option programs. Actually, the ARCOA, when I was still in the other bureau, actually our dream is to have some sort of a platform wherein contestable customers and the retail electricity suppliers would be able to visit and actively engage in the platform as a exchange of views or offers, whatever, or the rates, no information. So hopefully, ESP may be able to help us on that. As to Architect Garcia, thank you, ma'am, for the observations and being an advocate of renewable energy and cleaner environment. You have raised 5 questions, if I may, and then let me respond to them one by one. On on whether existing transmission or distribution line will be used under JEP, yes. We will be using. That's why we're awaiting the regulatory framework of the Energy Regulatory Commission, because on the access to the transmission, we wanted that it should be there's a regulatory decision on that. On the variability of the RE, that is why we recognize that most of the or 1 or 2 of the RE technologies are variable or let's say intermittent. That's why we in the guidelines we require replacement power, because we wanted to ensure that 24/7 the customer is availing the services it needs. So there's no room for brownout or for a shutdown of the services coming from that JEP supply. So we make sure that the RE supplier has enough contracted replacement power, which is also coming from RE. That's why in the JEP program, as far as legally viable or feasible, we're looking at having a pool of RE suppliers so that anybody who needs an immediate supply would be able to readily provide it among themselves. But that is subject to anti-competitive and abuse of market power. On the third question of whether or not a JEP customer can return to the distribution utility, yes, our guidelines, our policy allows that. And the only condition is you should be able to pay your outstanding obligation to the RE suppliers, because we don't want a customer leaving one RE supplier because it has huge financial obligation and then transfer to other RE supplier or the distribution utility. But the current policy is it can return to the distribution utility. So there's no distinction that you cannot return, because it's the right of the customer to avail electricity services. Fourth, on the end user of about 100 kilowatt and above, like a subdivision or economic zone or a group of community. Right now, what we're allowing is individual consumers. So there's no aggregation yet, no. But eventually, like in EcoZone, we're in discussion with PESA on a different mode of RE mechanism or peer-to-peer, something like that approach, no, wherein the locator being outside the DU franchise area will be able to share among themselves on the value of RE installation in the locators EcoZone. And lastly, on the hybrid, right now, I think the question of whether it can use the existing supply from the DU and the RE, I think that is similar to Ms. Claire's note that in the Australian design, there's our certain percentage. Again, we're open to continuing improving our design for JOP. But right now, what we are referring to as hybrid are two or more technologies providing the service to a particular customers. So I guess I was able to respond to the question raised by or the notes by Miss Claire and Architect Garcia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Director Maylene, for sharing your insights. So now we will proceed with the more exciting part of the discussion. So may we again call on our panelists. Director Maylene, can you please join us again, as well as our reactors? Can you join us again? So we will now start with the question and answer part of our program. In the interest of time, we will only be accommodating a few questions and some instructions for the questions. So if anyone has questions, you may raise your hand. Just click the raise hands button here in Zoom so we can unmute you. And alternatively, you may also ask your questions through the chat box. But please, if you want to direct the question to a particular panelist, kindly put their name in your question so that we may address the question to the right person. So yeah, we have a lot of questions. Maybe we can start with the first question. No, so I think this will be directed to Director Maylene. So should GEOP suppliers cover 100% of the end user's demand, even during peak load? Or could the end users get only a portion of their requirements from the GEOP?
Yeah, thank you, Joshua. I think we have responded to that in the earlier comments from Ms. Claire and Architect Garcia. That the JOP is actually a total migration from the distribution utility. So
okay, thank you po, Director.
100%, yeah.
100%, okay. Yeah. So that would be 100%. Next question po. I think this person is from Mindanao. Will the GEOP be also implemented in the Mindanao grid?
Yes, there's no distinction as long as they're currently provided services through the distribution utility.
Okay po. Yeah, so maybe we can call on Mr. Vega for the next question. There's a question directed to First Gen.
Okay.
So what is First Gen Energy Solution Inc.'s planned capacity for the GEOP? Oh. And what are the projects and what are your total capacity in megawatts po?
Okay, thank you for that question. I think we have geothermal plants in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So I think primarily our participation would be through our geothermal plants. So that would be Bacman Geothermal in Luzon, that's 140 megawatts. Unified Leyte in Visayas and our Green Core, that would be a total of, well, it ranges because of the timing. It could be around 400, 450 megawatts. And then in Mindanao, we have Mount Apo Geothermal, which is 100 megawatts. So it's really just a matter of timing. But just to answer it directly, it's all of our geothermal plants will be available and will be able to provide and participate under the GEO.
Thank you, Sir Carlo. Maybe we can call on one person who's raising her hand. Ms. Rosaline, you may ask your question now. Hello, Ms. Rosaline Factor. You were raising your hand. Okay, so maybe there are some technical difficulties from the side of Ms. Rosaline, no? So maybe we can proceed with some of the questions that we have in the chat box. So next question po. So ARCOA is a one-way ticket. Will GEOP also be the same? I think she means, or he means, once a customer shifts or switches to RE, the customer will not be allowed to go back to the DU. Would that be the case po?
Yeah, I think we have responded to that. That anytime, as long as they meet their or complied with the outstanding financial obligation from the distribution utility or the RE supplier, then the switching can be done. So they can go back and forth to the distribution utility as long as there's no outstanding financial obligation. Kumbaga walang utang.
Okay po. Thank you for that. And we have one question from the labor sector, from Irvin of Power Centro. Using the GEOP, how can the end user assure that there will be no brownout if they will be using the existing line of the DUs?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the reason why our policy, the circular we have issued, really emphasizes on the 24/7, meaning every day, every hour of the day, every minute, there will be power supply to the JOP end user. And if the facility or the source of that RE supplier is not available, there is a ready replacement power. So if the RE supplier is not able to perform that function, then the consumer can go to the Department of Energy and complain, no? Because we'll be the one investigating. And under the RE law, we're empowered to provide or to impose sanction to those entities not complying with the RE law. Thank you.
Okay po. So thank you po for that. And it's reassuring to know though that there are also accountability mechanisms. We have other questions here. Will there be concrete safeguards should the energy provider fail to render the level of service? I think this is what you answered po, no? And another question from William Noses. So in case where there are no replacement power in the region, can we have an agreement with the DU so that they will source the supply during the nighttime? Or if not, what electric market is suggested po?
As long as I think the RE, the supply coming from the DU is coming from RE. But you know, the distribution utility has this blend of supply now coming from different technologies. So we'll just make sure that it should be coming from RE and it's free because usually the distribution utility shouldn't have not over contract. No, meaning what is the demand of the captive market should be equal to the contracted supply. But directly when we say can that be a backup supply, it's not in the circular we issued. This is actually refers also to the earlier question from Ms. Claire on the percentage of supply coming from the DU. So actually it's similar to that. But right now it's not really in the circular whether the DU can provide the replacement power. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Director Maylene. There's another question for FGen. No? What is the typical contract period for RE supply? And what is the shortest contract period that RE suppliers can consider?
Okay. Can I take that, Joshua?
Yes, sir. Yes, po.
Yeah. So I think as mentioned earlier, the design was that there's no template. It's really up to the customer. It's really up to the consumer. If they want a long-term contract, they can have that. If they want a short-term contract, they can also have that. In terms of actual contracts that we've signed, we can sign as short as a year. And nothing stops them from signing as long as 4 or 5 years. It's really up to the customer. And we'd like to work with the customer in planning for their needs. And it's really a collaborative approach because it depends on what their requirements are. Just to share, there are some that wouldn't like to contract because because of COVID, for example. Because of COVID, they don't know the future yet.
Mo ako ng video para alam nung police ba na isama mo to para alam niya na kasama ako.
Yeah. Sorry. So I was saying, just to share our experience, we had customers who said we want GEOP. It works for us, but we don't want to sign long-term yet because we don't know what happens because of the pandemic. So that's fine. It's really up to the consumer. It's really up to the customer. We'd like to help them plan for it. But there are some customers, a number of them said, no, I want this for a longer period of time because there's not enough RE and the pricing structure works for them. So there's really no template. It's really customized for the customer based on their needs. It's really a big match on how they want it.
Okay, thank you, Sir Carlo Vega, for detailing how the contracts will be, and parang it's nice to know po that this can be tailor fitted according to what the end user or the customer would really want. We have one attendee who would like to raise his question. Sir Melvin, you may ask your question po.
Good morning. For Director Mylene, my question is if substantial portions of the demand in a distribution utility shifts to GEOPS, displacing non-renewable energy supplies, what will happen to the supply contracts of the DU and non-RE suppliers, especially on the minimum guaranteed electricity quantity in their contracts? Kasi halimbawa baka ipapasa lang ng DU yung kontrata nila sa coal doon sa mga consumers na wala sa GEOPS o walang RE. Salamat ba?
Thank you, Sir Melvin. Actually, that's the reason why we're awaiting the energy regulatory framework for the GEOP. Because it's the energy regulatory who approves the power supply contract of the distribution utilities. And given all these policies and programs, including the ARCOA and the Green Energy Option Program and the net metering, these are consumer-driven program, and the distribution utility should be able to recognize that. So that's why there are certain studies that they should do to really determine what is the proper contracting. But I understand there are now provisions in the contract on the migration, referring to the migration of demand, as a result of this consumer program.
Thank you po. Next question po siguro. This comes from Healthcare Without Harm, I think. And it's from the NGO sector. Can communities with an aggregate consumption of more or less 100 kilowatts avail of GEO po?
As mentioned earlier, what we're looking right now are individual end users. Now, we're not yet into aggregation. So, hindi pa po tayo nag-a-allow ng subdivision or certain barangays venturing. But eventually, as the ARCOA or the consumer choice is down to the household level, that would be possible. And if there's already policy and regulation on the aggregation of demand.
All right po. Thank you po, Director Mylene. This one siguro some of our industry representatives po can share. Since GEOP can also cater contestable customers with 500 plus kilowatt requirements beside let me synthesize. So I think the question asks, what are the other perks and incentives po that GEOP can offer the end users? Sir Carlo, I think you're there.
I was muted. Sorry. Sorry. So it's a whole host of things. And I guess I'm speaking on behalf of the past contracts that we've signed. It doesn't need to be limited to just power supply. It can be value-added services. For example, trainings on the power industry. We've gotten a lot of that. Like, for example, they've asked us how the recent department circular on energy efficient. Sorry, did I get cut?
Yes, sir. You got cut.
Sorry. I was saying it can be a whole host of things and not just limited to power supply. We've provided value-added services to our customers, such as trainings. Like, for example, if they wanted to know more about the power industry, we'll be happy to do one-on-ones with them. It can be like as simple as those things to as complex as can we refer them to solar providers? Because on top of GEOP, they'd also like to pursue other parts of a sustainable design for other facilities, and that can also be part of the discussion. So I think it's really towards a sustainable energy future. And it doesn't need to be limited to GEOP as a power supply. So it's a whole host of things. Nothing stops us from talking about other things that are going to help them with their how should I say this, with their power bill and their power requirements.
Okay, sir. Thank you for reaffirming that. No, as you mentioned earlier, the contracts can be really tailor fitted for the customers. No, we have we have a limited time now for the questions. No, so we will ask some of the questions, just a few questions from the chat box and from the question and answer board here. Miss Director Maylene, maybe this one's directed to you. When will the ERC po issue the final GEOP framework?
Actually, I'm not sure, but they have done some consultation, regarding the draft regulatory framework. So, I guess anytime soon.
Okay po. And then two other questions po, and I think this will also be directed to Director Maylene. So first po, how will the rate structure be? Will it be higher or lower than the D rate? That's the first question po. And then the second question is, will the customer have to shoulder the cost of the meter upgrade po if needed?
Yeah, I think that would be subject to the discussion between or negotiation between the RE supplier and the consumer. Now, on the question of, once again, the first question.
The first question, yung rate structure po, will it be
the
higher or lower than D rate?
The policy espouses that there will be transparency and the offer should be itemized and unbundled. So we are expecting that the consumer, when they engage into the GEO program, is aware, no? Because there are customers that they don't care about the rate, but they care about what is being supplied to them. Like the PH 100, they say, we just need RE. We want to promote RE, particularly the development in the country. So the rate that is being charged to them actually is secondary. So and that's the reason why also that triggers us to develop a voluntary RE market or a program for the consumers. So eventually, so that somehow they can trade the supply, no, that they contract under the JOP or any other program using renewable.
Okay
Thank
po.
you.
Thank you, Director Maylene. And now we will be down to our last two questions. No. So first po, again, kay Director Maylene ulit. Can Director Maylene articulate GEOP provisions on enforcement, dispute resolution, and arbitration on issues or complaints between the GEOP supplier and the end user po? This is a question from Nikki Villaseñor of Hybrid Energy Partners po.
If Sir Nikki is looking at a detailed procedure, I think it should be our legal, no, but there is a corresponding provision that we cited in the RE law about the criminal and administrative liability. So I believe, if not mistaken, our legal services is crafting the procedure on this. So it's allowed. Any violation, you just inform us, and then we'll take on from that aspect. Thank you.
Okay po. Thank you, Director Maylene. And down to our last question po. And maybe we can have the insights of all our speakers and reactors now. So the last question po is, how can we shift the mindset of the public to embrace green energy when fossil fuel companies spend so much money on advertising and lobbying? So who wants to start po?
I defer to the ladies. I'll just go ahead. I'll do after.
Sige, I'll start
Ladies
first.
first.
Well, as mentioned earlier, the RE Act has both mandatory provisions and voluntary provisions towards promotion and utilization, commercialization of renewable energy in the country. So I guess there is a striking balance between what program a consumer would be engaged in. So it's either a DU wholly contracting the RE or a customer under the green energy option program and the net metering. So for the mandatory, the renewable portfolio standards, and the RE market will be able to facilitate compliance with. In fact, the National Renewable Energy Program is looking at under the RPS is looking at a minimum of 35% RE share in the generation by 2030. So that is where we're looking at also. Thank you.
Okay, thank you po for sharing, Director Maylene. Can we have some of our reactors po to share? Who wants to go next?
Joshua, hi.
Ayan po.
So very briefly, I think this was already mentioned earlier also by Boss Mai and also by Carlo, that a lot of our consumers right now are leaning more towards they're more conscious in terms of green companies, and especially the millennials. They even when they work for a company, they look at companies who have a green portfolio or a sustainable portfolio. So I think the mindset is going there. A matter of making it, and well, the pandemic has actually hastened, the use of internet, and so a lot of online platforms will be very helpful in being able to reach and to be able to spread information and the campaign on greening not only our energy but our lifestyle as well.
Okay. Thank you. Yes po, Sir Carlo, are you going next po?
Yeah, well, I think it's to us, we think it's a communication gap that needs to be addressed, and we laud organizations trying to bridge that gap, because when we go to the customers, they actually don't know that they're part of they can be part of the program. And it's these small things that we do, like this webinar and all. It's aggressively reaching out and trying to communicate through learning sessions like this that will greatly help. I think that's one of the many solutions, but I think that's one gap that we've seen over the past few months. No? I think we continue to talk to customers and say, and they comment, meron pa lang ganito. And then buti na lang you reached out, and buti na lang we saw this Facebook ad, so on and so forth. No? And so it only shows how big that gap is today, because there are a lot. I think if you check the DTI website, the information on the small and medium enterprises that the number on the SMEs that the GEOP is trying to target, there's a lot of them, and I think not a lot of them know about GEOP enough. So that's it. That's just from my end, insight on the ground. Thank you, Joshua.
Thank you, Sir Carlo. And last but not the least, Architect Louis.
Yeah, so I'd like to echo Mr. Vega's comment on that. No, actually, there are a lot of Filipinos who are now ready to jump into the renewable energy bandwagon, except that they don't know how. I think that it requires more information about it. No, there are still a lot of people who are having a challenge, embracing change. But this is the prime time to go about it because climate change is already there. As mentioned earlier, millennials are very much into it, no, and it's not going to be as difficult as when we started this. In Green Architecture Advocacy Philippines, we started promoting green design and green architecture 17 years ago, almost 2 decades, and it was very difficult to sell the idea of going green. But currently, there are so many organizations, so many groups, and so many even students are embracing this. No, so it's not. I don't think that it's going to be as difficult. And as you know, a lot of people are now going solar in their own residences, at least in their in their homes, no. And it's I think it's really about time that we bring about this sort of information to a greater audience, because not everyone knows about it. Not everybody knows what GEOP is all about, and it's interesting. And I really congratulate the organizers of this discussion, that GEOP is now in the open, and it's really now for discussion. Hopefully, it will go. GEOP will be made available even to the smaller players. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thank you po, Architect Louie, and thank you for everyone for sharing your insights regarding the last question, no. And as part of the youth myself, as part of the millennials po, no, we really do agree. The compared to like decades ago, no, now the tide is already shifting. I think a lot of people now are more aware of climate change, of course, and the need for us to transition to low carbon systems. And it's really good that the government now through the Green Energy Options Program allows us to shift our priorities to a more sustainable systems, no. So now with that, we would like to end the close the question and answer program, and to formally conclude today's affair, may we now call on CREST President Engineer Riedo A. Panaligan for the closing remarks.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining us and for uh, having a for having a wonderful discussion despite some of the technical difficulties that we encountered. Our special thanks especially to our speakers for sharing their knowledge and expertise. To Director Mylene Kapungkol, thank you, ma'am. And also to our panelists, Mr. Carlos Lorenzo Vega, thank you. To my classmate, Claire B. And also to, of course, to one of our strong partner, Architect Louie Daya Garcia. Again, thanks everyone for your insights. And also, thank you to our youth champion, Joshua, for hosting our very wonderful webinar today. So again, the Green Energy Option Program is a voluntary incentive program, and it can only be successful if us, the electricity consumers, will embrace it. So definitely, we really need to be involved for the success of the GEO. And we hope that this webinar was able to inspire you to adopt sustainable energy systems in your own businesses, in your workplace, and of course, even in our homes. So again, this is the first of the WWF and CREST webinar series. So we will have another webinar focusing on net metering rules on March 24. And of course, we invite you to stay tuned to CREST and WWF Facebook pages for more details about this. So again, thanks everyone, and have a very pleasant day.
Okay. Thank you, Engineer Panaligan, for from CREST, no, for organizing this event. And again, thank you to CREST and to WWF for allowing us to better understand this new policy, the Green Energy Options Program. So with that said, this concludes our webinar on understanding the green energy options. So thank you everyone for spending your morning with us. I hope this has been an enlightening experience for everyone, no? As it was for me. So once again, this is Joshua Miguel Lopez, Southeast Asia Coordinator for the Global Youth Energy Outlook. And we now end our program for today. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. And thank you po everyone for participating. Maraming salamat po.
To pose, now shush. She makes the sound